Testing, testing. All right, I think we are finally ready to start. Thank you all so much for coming today for this seminar on Intelligent Senior Independent Living Spaces, or iSILS. This presentation will be given by our good friends, Mr. Shaki Fahel and Mr. Bob Kalflesh. I'll leave the introduction of our speakers to Mahir, who will give that to us very shortly. Just before we do that, however, I'd like to have just a couple minutes about a few announcements I have. I hope everyone is now aware of a conference that we're holding at the School of Pharmacy in Kitchener from April 28th to the 30th on advances in health informatics. The focus of this, or the theme of the conference, is the realities of e-health. This is an international conference. It will have on-site participants as well as people being able to attend remotely by the web. That is enabled by Cisco Canada, which we're very grateful for. I encourage you all to attend this conference. It will be a great event. Secondly, I'd like to mention that we have an upcoming Smarter Health seminar on March 30th. That's Tuesday from 3 to 4:30 p.m. in this room. Mr. William Pascal, who is the Chief Technology Officer of the Canadian Medical Association, will be our guest speaker, and he will be talking on e-health, refurbishing a tarnished brand. I'm sure he will have some very interesting comments in that talk. And lastly, but not least, our next Health Informatics Boot Camp will be held June 27th to the 29th in the room next door in Davis Center 1302. This is an introduction to health informatics, and I hope some of you will decide to come to the next boot camp. So without any further ado, Maher, will you please introduce our speakers?
Good afternoon and welcome everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. Our first speaker, Shaki Fahel, is the Waterloo-based entrepreneur who owns and operates JG groups of companies. Mr. Fahel has been honored numerous times for his outstanding community involvement and business success. And most recently, he was named one of the Waterloo 150, which profiles 150 of the most influential Waterloo citizens, past and present. Our second speaker, Bob Kalflesh, established his own consulting company in 1999 after a 30 years career in the Ontario Public Service. He is also senior partner in the Innovative Management Services Group and an associate of eBiz Professionals, Inc. As a consultant, he has delivered on several business management projects. He has also assisted in the startup of the Innovative Institute of Ontario and on Trace Agri-Food Traceability, Inc. Our third speaker, Robert Rosehart, is the interim principal of the Renaissance College at the University of Waterloo. He was professor of chemical engineering and the dean at Lakehead University. Dr. Rosehart interests are in economic development, science and technology policy, and government policy. Today, our speaker will speak about or talk about the Intelligent Senior Independent Living Spaces, iSILS. Welcome our speakers. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Maher. Thank you very much. Do I need to have this, or can I talk without? I don't. Good, excellent. You know, I get a loud voice, so I mean, and this is a small room. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you very much for coming today. Without further ado, thank you very much for organizing this. This is something very near and dear, not only to my heart, but to many of us here and many Canadians with the elderly and with the aged. So now, I guess I have to do this, right? This is my mother. She turns 87 years old on Saturday, next Saturday. My mother had a stroke 11 years ago, and for 11 years I've had a full-time caregiver living with her. My father-in-law is 89 years old. He'll turn 90 in May. My mother-in-law is a war bride, 86 years old. My father-in-law is a veteran that survived the landing on Juno Beach. And for the past 10 years, both my wife and I have been lucky to be able to look after the three of them because, as you know, the demographics in Canada today, you could have your mother here and you could be living in Winnipeg. And we're five brothers. All my brothers are from Washington to Miami to Toronto to Orangeville. My brother-in-law is in Listo and what have you. So we've been blessed to be able to look after them. And through the course, a few years ago, and I'm giving you a quick rundown as to the idea, I had 6 part-time MBA students from Wilfrid Laurier University. Dr. Rosehart is not here today. Dr. Rosehart is the chairman of iSILS, former president of Wilfrid Laurier University. He's no longer at Renison College, and my daughter, Amanda, who does a lot of research, who's going to be here today, is unfortunately under the weather. She's not with us, but I will make up for all of them, and Bob will help me out with that. The transitional independent living, it was an idea looking at the elderly. I had asked the 6 part-time MBA students to go out and do a study and check with elderly Canadians, that sell their homes, do they want to move into a long-term healthcare facility? And the study came back and they said, wait a minute, 99% of them would still love to stay in their own environment, the same place, downsize to go to the same bank, the same church, hospital, mosque, or whatever, okay? And while they were at it, I said, the other thing that I would like you to do is check into all the buildings. This is a study, by the way, the Lazarus effect, that was done by the Waterloo Heritage Center here with the Ontario Architectural Conservation Authority, and I participated in that. That's the first study in 33 years that was done, and it tackled heritage buildings. Heritage in this country is a new phenomenon. We think 100 years is too old, tear it down. You go to Europe. I stayed in 1,000-year-old hotels in Europe, And I asked the 6 part-time students, and I said, I want you to think out of the box, and they controlled almost $1 billion between them, in real life, And I said, check about old buildings. We have a lot of industrial buildings, decrepit buildings in the heart of our communities. And let's see if we can utilize the Lazarus effect. Now, Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, and the Lazarus effect is about raising old buildings from the dead, okay? And we have, over the past 15 years, I have done many buildings, and we'll show you a little later. This is the American Standard building in downtown Hespeler, right on the river, on the Speed River. When the report came back to me, they said elderly Canadians would definitely love to still stay at their homes, when they sell their homes in the same community, and definitely they will contemplate moving into older buildings. And that was 6 years ago. And 3 years ago in November, actually 2007, I negotiated, and I should take this out here. And we bought this project here completely, all of this. It's 8 acres across the river, this building and the whole. We have the building, we have the concept of elderly, we have the retrofitting, we have the heritage. We were missing one component, and that's the intelligence. You have to understand, all through these years, and every move that I was making, it's towards elderly Canadians, my mother, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law. How do I make it easier for them to stay home for longer periods of time? And we bought the building, we cleared the building, and I am very glad to say today, and I didn't mention here, I have some members of our advisory iSILS group, Don and Mike here, and Shirley, we have, and Mr. Murray there. It's good to see you. Welcome back from the Olympics. I'm glad you went. You brought us luck, many gold medals, That's the third missing item that I wanted to put together. Old buildings, elderly people, intelligence. And this came about 3 years ago. Waterloo was chosen as the most intelligent community in the world. And we hired a guy called John Young, who's also on our advisory group. And John Young is the CEO of the CTT. And when he was hired by Waterloo Region, and I had lunch with him, and I'm talking to him about my project, and I'm showing him my project, and he says, Shaki, have you been to our website? And John Young is one of the co-founders of the Intelligent Community Forum out of New York, you know. And I said, no, I haven't. He said, this is really what we're trying to do. And it's ironic, last year in New York, Michael Bailey, who is the CEO of the former lands where they built the Titanic in Ireland, they were trying to do, and Mike will be interested in that, exactly same thing that we're trying to do in older buildings, transform them into residences for seniors and elderly people. So the idea was born. I started in January. I hired an architect, and we worked with Rick Holdenby. I mean, some of you know Rick from the School of Architecture. We hired 4 undergraduates, University of Waterloo undergraduates. I had one of the top gerontologists in Ontario that came in and spent time and addressed the students about the universality in design, about barrier-free, about barrier-friendly design, because what we did in our design for this project, and we have 124 condominiums. We have just finalized all of the necessary steps needed, including the environmental, last week, and we are ready to move forward with our project. We spent a couple of years from November, actually 2007, and now we're ready to move forward. And what we have done with the students, had full-time architects work with them, and they were being critiqued by Rick Holdenby and by the Venton Group, architectural firm. And when the 4 undergraduates finished, we had another 3 undergraduates to work. And it was one of a kind, because you never have like 4 students do a co-op, you know, on one project. You know, maybe a couple, but not 4 students. So we were very, very pleased and very happy with the work. And thus, iSILS was born. And iSILS used to be SILS, S-I-I-L-S, Senior Intelligent Independent Living Spaces. And Ray Simonson, who the CEO of CoreWorks, actually he's our IT advisor, you know, said, you know, we should change it to iSILS instead of SILS, and we changed it to, and that became the basis of Riverbank Lofts, which is the project on the river. And now we moved forward to start moving the process forward. So what is iSILS? All of you read English, or do I need to read it? You know, it's, and to sum it up for me, you know, I've been in construction for over 35 years. I have a very large cabinet shop. You know, we just finished all the millwork at the School of Medicine down in Kitchener. So we have the cabinets, and we have the construction, and we needed the third missing part of the triology, which is the technology, which is the sensors that we are bringing to the table. And this is all the way of the future. As far as I'm concerned, this is what's needed. This is where we have to go. And I look at the elderly and the seniors, not only in this country. You know, we have the global warming. We have a global senior tsunami for everybody across the world, not only in Canada. And we all face the same thing. So our governments today are scrambling, you know, to do what? To help people aging in place. Elderly Canadians, and Mike, maybe I'm wrong, have been neglected. Elderly in North America, you know, seniors have been neglected. It's like the late awakening the past 10, 15 years, and now we're waking up. I remember Mike in our first meeting almost a year ago, around the table said to me, and Mike is the head of the Research Institute for the Aged, University of Waterloo, Ron Schlegel, Homewood Group. He said to me, Shaki, if you try to do this 10 or 15 years ago, everybody would have laughed at you. Today, everybody would want to participate in terms of the technology. And how right you are. You know how right you are, because through our research throughout the whole world, this is really where it's all headed to. We have to, you know, that's the solution. This is a list. I'll bring my son or my daughter if I have any more, you know, to go to school here. This is a list of what I have done is garnered almost 20 to 25 different people from different disciplines. For the past year, every 6 weeks or every 2 months, you know, we've met and we shared with them our ideas. We gathered from them ideas, who should we, how to go about things and what have you. And I'm very, very proud and honored to have such a great team of people around us that are willing to participate and participated so far. So these are some of the we've had architects, we've had designers, project management services, St. Mary's Chair, Dr. Shurat is right here. John Young, I was saying, the executive director of CTT, co-founder of Intelligent Community Forum, Kevin Tour, Communitech. We're hoping to partner with them in the Digital Media Center that they're putting at the Tannery Place in Kitchener. Sandra Hanmarsh is the lens of the world. Kathy Durst is a board member. Dr. Maury Young. Dr. Jacques Sale, he's retired. I call him the godfather of the Catholics in town, but and Barbara McKay. So we had a tremendous team that we have put together that has been helping the process and moving the process forward. And I am honored, and on behalf of the chair and everybody that participated, I say to you, to all of you, thank you very, very much for all your advice and for all your help. And that brings us to the 3 R's that I say that are needed, you know. The problems faced by seniors and persons with disabilities, the scientific application, and the real made in Waterloo affordable solution. And I will stress affordable because in few minutes I will show you some things, and we will talk why we want something affordable. You can build the Taj Mahal and you can spend a lot of money. Elderly Canadians and seniors do not have much money. We need to come up with solutions for them that are affordable. We need to come up with solutions for them that are easy. 90% of elderly Canadians are being cared for by immediate family members. We need to have that integration between them made easier. Are you on next, Barb? Yeah, I'm going to call on Bob Kalbfleisch, our senior advisor here and member of the board, to talk about the validation of the iSILS concept.
Thank you, Shaki. So Shaki has taken you through the process that started with an idea and built it up to iSILS, which is as much an idea as it is a research project. The outcomes of iSILS will have to be proven through research, through development, through innovation. So one of the first things that was done was to apply to IRAP for funding to undertake a proof of concept project for iSILS. And we had 3 primary objectives for the proof of concept stage. Is the iSILS concept valid? Is there a need? How do we prove it? How do we benchmark the needs of seniors and aging today for them to be able to stay in their own home? And how do we align the priorities of the health caregivers with the iSILS concept? And certainly, what innovative technologies are available today to actually help meet those needs of seniors as they want to live in their own home? And lastly, what is available as far as a domestic and global market for products that we may produce through the research outcomes of iSILS and the IP that's generated through iSILS? So, under the project, there was quite a bit of work that was undertaken. A number of meetings have been held over the last year or so with the University of Waterloo, a number of researchers at the University of Waterloo, the School of Engineering, Mechanical Engineering in particular as one, the IDAPT program, which is a program at the University of Toronto that looks at how people with disabilities how can technology help people with disabilities be able to live independently? And one of the things that was pointed out to us when we met with the folks from IDAPT was problems that seniors, the aging, face in many cases are the same problems of mobility and things like that that people with disabilities face. So there was a definite link in the thinking with the University of Toronto. And lastly, the National Research Council, they're doing a lot of research work with things like sensors. And when we start to think about, and Shaki will talk about this a little in a few minutes, but as we start to think about how do we monitor people living in their own homes in a passive way, the use of sensors comes to mind as an area where we should be thinking about research. And to take a look at what's happening and benchmark the research that's already happened, we've done internet investigations and, of course, literature searches and looked at the statistics for seniors. A number of conferences and workshops were attended. The American Association of Homes and Services for the Aging, ASHA, in Chicago, and Shaki will talk to you about some of the findings there. The Ontario government had an innovation summit. It looked at elderly living last fall, and we attended that. And the Active Living Coalition for Older Adults, ALCOA, is another area that we have been talking to. So there's been a fair bit of work that is being done. And one of the most important areas was to look at the work and information we can find through focus groups. And of all the work that was done, the work with people actually involved either because they are, like many of us, aging Canadians, or they provide service to aging Canadians was important. Shaki, I'll let you pick it up from here.
Well, the IRAP application that we were awarded $50,000 to validate the concept, that's almost done. And through that, we used focus groups, and we have gone to St. Luke's, and they were kind enough to have like around 19 or 21 people around the table from 87 years old to 97 years old. So these are the people that we were checking with, we were talking about, what are their needs and what have you. And I've got to tell you, many elderly Canadians, they would rather stay at home rather than go into a controlled environment, And we did the same. My mom goes to Sunnyside twice a week in a daycare center and what have you. So I have a very good relationship, and they were very kind again to accommodate us. We drafted some questionnaires that we sent to them. My daughter, who's spearheading a lot of the research, and my executive assistant, Linda Thompson, we've gone to address around almost 15 or 20 people from Waterloo Region Gerontology Association. We shared our vision with them. We talked about iSILS in general, and we validated the concept. And we also started working on a second application. But through our findings of the research, one of the most important findings that we discovered: kitchens and bathrooms are huge need for elderly. The prevention of falls, 80% of elderly people have breaks going between the bedroom and between the bathroom. 70% of people in showers, break through slipping coming out of the shower. Bathtubs today, they're made out of steel. Bathtubs are made out of ceramic or fiberglass, hard surfaces. Elderly people going over the shower. So you've got some companies out there that are cutting the bathtub and what have you. And we're getting into, through our research, identifying things. We identify, you have people with arthritis, but you can put your hands and they get washed. How many shower heads do you know of people with arthritis that go in where a shower head can come on automatically? These are some of the things that through our whole research, and we're working on them. Being that I'm in the construction and I'm in cabinets and what have you. I'm also working on trying to design, one of a kind, iSILS kit that you can walk into a Walmart in 3 years or 4 years, but then give it the added integration, the added sensors, the added that is needed, which will make life a lot easier. And in construction, I mean, I can go on in construction, but I'll mention the universality, monitoring of the living space. I want to be able to pick this from Jerusalem, Hong Kong, or Timbuktu, and check my mother's environment and find out if she used the water that day. I know she's fine if she used the water. I know if she didn't use the water, there's something wrong. I'll check the heat, the hydro, and also to see if we can create an integrated platform to read her blood pressure and her sugar level. Everybody's working on this singularly, separately. We're trying to come up with an integrated platform to bring all of these together and then apply it into the construction. So I look at Riverbank as a pilot project, one of a kind in Canada, in the world, made in Waterloo solution, really, because we're looking at the design. Bob mentioned ASHA, the American Association of Homes and Services for the Aged. We were in Chicago in November at the O'Brien Center, largest conference hall in Chicago, to watch the smartest home in the world. 6,000 vendors. Yeah, it's very smart, all right? Can somebody guess how much that thing cost? $8,500 American. So you would take $9,000. $8,500. I talked about affordability earlier. Remember I said I'll come back to that? We're trying to come up with something affordable. I'll go to the next slide. This is the smartest kitchen. If you take a look at this, this is a mechanism by Presalt out of Sweden. In the kitchen, there were 7 different representatives, each representative of something different. I represent the floor, I represent the cabinets, I represent the mechanism, and I represent the appliances. And I said, do you guys know what integration means? And then I said, how much is this? $3,500 for the cabinet to go up and down. $3,500 for this 30-inch cabinet. Say, give me a break. Did anybody hear of somebody called Henry Ford? I mean, affordability and so everybody can design. There was a bathtub, $10,000 they wanted for it. $10,000. I said, can I drive it down the highway? So I mean. And the other thing that I noticed here that should really be a no-no in the new design of the future, there should be no square edges, absolutely not for elderly. Many elderly fall, they slip, boom, they hit their heads, There's non-slip flooring, and the list goes on and on of what's out there, which we're trying to bring together and come up with the best solution. I'm not going to be everything to everybody like the Canadian government, but we will try to come up with some real good solutions. So when we talk about universal design and the universal design principles, the equitable use of the principle, the flexibility use, the simple and intuitive principle, the percipital information, the tolerance, the low physical effort principle, size and space, and then taking a bathroom and also a kitchen and try to design. And this is the design that we had the architects and the students work on for the past year, 14 months, with taking what the gerontologist advised them and talked to them about. We also, as Bob mentioned earlier, we're looking for partnerships We have a lot of good, exciting things that are happening, and I'm very proud today to also to announce that on Friday we were informed that IRAP has given us $150,000, the second application, and this is for construction. Okay, the IRAP, two applications and two funding is for the construction aspect of iSILS. We still haven't embarked on the intelligence and the brain of iSILS. This is one of the things that we have designed, and this is one of the things that we are out there to try and prove the concept. And it is actually a seat, on a toilet seat, that will take the elderly or a senior into a shower to wash them. One of the worst major problems of elderly people is getting them off a toilet and getting them cleaned up. So this is a concept that my engineers and architects put together, and we're actually working, going to start in April to create a modality of this at our facilities. Naturally, we dabbled with a few other things, kitchens, grab bars, very simple, commonsensical, grab bars. How many of you seen any grab bar in any kitchen? We're doing modular designs, where you can move a cabinet. God forbid you grow older or somebody's in a wheelchair, you don't have to rip the whole kitchen. You move a couple of cabinets. Now you get a place. That's why we eliminated the kicks on some of these cabinets. This is a tower. This was actually Wayne Kimmick's idea. We have somebody paraplegic that's part of the advisory group, and we looked at closets, and this is a carousel with, again, integrating a sensor that will bring the carousel around in the closet. Simple, affordable stuff. Anything that we design, anything that we want to produce, we think of the affordability. This is the brain. iSILS is the brain. iSILS is, and then these are arteries around it. How can we relate, to the physical environment? When I talk about the motion, in my mother's unit, the sensor for the environment that she's in, the family community agency. I mean, we have CCA. They come in and they come in and see my mother 4 or 5 times a week now. I have a mother that doesn't speak English. Her caregiver doesn't speak English, and this is something to do. I mean, there was a report last week about multiculturalism and the growth of this region and what have you. We haven't even embarked on any multiculturalism. When you talk about long-term healthcare, you go in and you have somebody that is from Sri Lanka, okay, a completely different culture sitting in St. Luke's, and I've seen an Indian lady who looked totally out of place because it's a completely different culture, a completely, 80% of elderly, I'm told, move into long-term health facility for 2 main reasons: their diet and their medication, And when you look at the multicultural aspect of things, we haven't even tapped, and we should have an international multicultural senior center in this community, Dr. Sharat. You should think about that. I'm serious, So basically, iSILS, and how can we integrate and how can we connect, with the whole healthcare system, because by the end of the day, what we're really trying to do by integrating construction and technology is to try and eliminate one whole tier of the healthcare system by allowing elderly Canadians to stay at home for longer periods of time without being a burden to the healthcare system. This is the vision, and this is actually a unit in what used to be the American Standard, Riverbank Lofts, and we're dabbling with sensors, we're dabbling with connectivity, we're dabbling with different. So our design at the American Standard is taking the barrier friendly. It's not only for elderly. Everybody talks about elderly people, everybody forgets they're young people. There are a lot of things that we like to see, in a unit. So all the backing, for instance, to put from grab bars to anything else, do it now, pre-construction, rather than, oh Jesus, we have to go and put extra grab bars now. We got to blow the wall open and so on and so forth. So all of these things go back to the universal design of our design, with the students, with gerontologists, with agronomists, with paraplegic people taking, that's the advisory group. So we were enriched by all of their advice to us. This is a center, research center that I want to build in my warehouse. We have 100,000 square feet, and I'm looking to build that. That's when we are going to move forward and apply for a grant. And we are also looking at partnering with the National Research Council of Canada, the London division. We've been down there, and we're looking at connecting both labs, our lab and their lab, together as part of the research. And this is a part of the lab that I want to create, where students want to come in, and if they have any ideas and what have you, can collaborate with us, in our research center. This is our projection for completion of some things. One of the things we really like to do, which we haven't even embarked on, I talked about showers and what have you, is come up with a soft landing, and part of my research, and I think I mentioned that, Mike, in prisons, all of the cells have rubber walls. And I'm trying to take the rubber walls and integrate fiberglass with them to see if we can create a soft landing bathtub. You're the one that told me about the prisons. And see if we can come up with our own creation of a bathtub, or a shower for that matter, that's soft landing, that, if elderly fall, they don't break anything. This is who we are. Lawyers Hall is in Brantford, Wilfrid Laurier University. I turned this into 32 beds for students. This is Wilkes House, also in Brantford. We did that for Wilfrid Laurier University. We took Alfred J. Wilkes, 1873 building that everybody wanted to tear down, and we turned that into a magnificent living space. This is the basketball court that we created. This is Market Village, downtown Kitchener. This is Alexandra School, uptown Waterloo. I don't know any of you knows Alexandra School, but that was a school that everybody wanted to tear down, and we took that and we turned it into 22 magnificent condominiums. As a matter of fact, they command the highest price per square foot on the resale value in Waterloo region today. So this is who we are and what we are. And again, these are some, all of this wood here is from Seagram Loft. Seagram Loft, we took it into our cabinet shop, we finished it, and this is a rooftop garden in Alexandra School. This is our cabinet shop. That's the integration. And we are expanding ourselves, and we're here, first of all, to thank you for the opportunity. We're here looking forward to partnering, looking forward to working with some of the graduates, some of the students, to help us further our vision to turn it into a reality that we want to do. I think we have in this region all that it takes to try and create the best solution for elderly in the world, because of who we are, because of what we are, because of our community, because of our richness, because of universities, because of students, because of the collaboration, the partnerships, and what have you. So again, thank you very much on behalf of the chairman, Dr. Rosehart, and all of our team for this opportunity.
Well, I see we have enough time for questions. First of all, I just want to say that anytime I hear Shaki speak, I am always so impressed with his passion and his determination to get things done. So I am looking forward to the solutions that we see coming out of your work and the partners that that come along with you. So I open the floor to questions and invite anyone to ask a question. Are there any questions from the web so far? Well, while people are is here.
Shockey, I didn't. It's Brian Dietrich, and I work at the university, but I'm also secretary of the Grand Valley Society of Architects and a member of the Architecture Conservancy, and I'm also taken a long time interest in housing, nonprofit housing, and I know there's one group in Toronto started up, and they're here locally now, called Options for Homes, and you talk about affordability. I'm wondering if what sort of affordability will you build into the project in terms of making the financing available, making sure that people, no matter what income level or background, if they maybe came from another country and don't have a great deal of life savings, what kind of affordability can you build into the project to have a variety of people come and live at the project in Hespeler?
That's a very good question, Brian. Two things. We are not there yet in terms of cost estimates, in a sense. This is a project that we want to cater to every household, not necessarily not-for-profit. It's to every household, and it's a project that really is geared towards alleviation of problems for the elderly and for the seniors. And when I talk about affordability, I talk about trying to create a solution that everybody can afford. The ones that don't have much money is really basically what we're talking about, because as I said earlier, you can build the Taj Mahal, as we saw in Asha in Chicago, $8,500 for a toilet and what have you. So, and we're just getting off the ground, actually. We are just starting in April on the construction aspect of some of these things. When you look at that toilet seat, I can easily say, oh, we want $3,000-$4,000 for it. Well, we're not. We want to try and have something for $300 or $400, maybe $1,000. But what you get out of it is tremendous. I had lunch with our mayor, Brenda Holloran, 4 weeks ago, and I was actually giving her a rundown on the presentation, and I showed her the toilet seat, and she said, quote, oh my God, this is the dream for every nurse. I didn't know she was a nurse, herself. She said, this is the dream for every nurse. So we're keeping in mind across the board. When I talk about a kit, I want somebody to be able to walk in and take a kit that can be installed aftermarket. Okay, aftermarket, and not costly. It's just like I look at the toilet seat, just like a garage door. You can take it, you can install it yourself. That's what we want. We want to have a kit that you can take and you can go home, and all you need is good backing for the track on the walls. So definitely we're taking that in mind. Definitely we look at the whole market in a sense. I was reading in Durham, they had a house they built for paraplegic, somebody in a wheelchair, and they charged them like $55,000 to try and alter the cabinets and try to do different things to accommodate somebody in a wheelchair. Well, you know what? There are people that can afford that. It so happens this guy had a lot of money. You want to give people and disabled people, something affordable, and we are keeping that in mind.
A second question. I've been volunteering for 10 years previously with the Barrier-Free Advisory Committee, City of Kitchener, City of Waterloo, and folks at the Independent Living Center on Victoria Street. I'm wondering if you've been able to work with those people, the group that they are, the different barriers that they face in the Waterloo region, and I'm just wondering if you can involve them in your project.
Well, you know what? I just have Bob just put the names down, and I'll definitely make sure that Amanda will be following up on that. That's a very good advice. No, we have not. We've met with gerontologists, we've met with doctors, we've met with elderly people, but that is an excellent advice, and we will follow up on it. And I'll talk to you. You can liaise for us. Yes, sir.
Well, thank you. Great talk. Very exciting work. I'm Danny. I'll be lecturing on computing and informatics at School of Pharmacy. So you mentioned several topics here, and the closest you got to computing was about monitoring healthcare, monitoring health, diabetes management, medications management. From your experience, to what extent do you think elderly are open to using computing in this kind of environment, as much as you may want to build it into the hard surfaces so that it's more transparent to them. Maybe they don't know what, they don't have to explicitly use it like we do with Facebook. But to what extent do you think they are open to having computing in that environment? Could you comment?
I should have Mike answer that because Mike is probably more experienced with that. It's a very good question. Elderly are set in their ways, but Mike, please.
So Kashta Shaki for passing that off. But it's a good point that you raise, and I think the current generation that's of older adults that are there now have some distrust of computers and lack of familiarity, but it's changing rapidly. The whole boomer group that's coming through now are quite versed in that. But what we're doing, and I'm from a congregate setting, a residential type setting, is we have intergenerational people there. We have the grandkids come in, and so if they're a little bit nervous about it, they bring in the grandkids. There's also high school kids who need co-op, whatever, access, and so they're working with older adults. So I don't think it's an insolvable problem. I think it is a challenge. You're right, because most homes in most settings don't have that, and they don't have access to it. But I think recognizing that the future, there will be no future without computer interaction. I think the front edge of that, from our experience, is more intergenerational than anything else.
I just want to add a comment to that, if I may. And I speak as a person who's entered, I guess I have to say, the seniors ranks. And if we take a look at what has happened in technology, just technology in general, not, over the last 15, 20, 30 years, people will use technology without hardly a second thought if it achieves an objective. When I drive a car, I don't know what happens under the hood. I know I put a key in and I turn the key, the car starts, I put my foot on the gas, and I go. That's all I need to know. If technology is that friendly for seniors and it achieves their objectives of staying in our own homes longer, we'll use it.
Another comment about that. We actually have a chronic disease management system operational in Luther Village down here. Okay, and if you want more information, I can tell you about it. Our observations fit with everybody else's here. What we found, with a little bit of assistance, most seniors, if there's a need, will get on the system. And the biggest champion of what we're doing happens to be 86 years old. Okay, so and once they get on the system and see the benefits, they're hooked.
A further comment in that Dr. Graham Strong couldn't be here today. He sent his regrets and also his greetings to you, Shaki and Bob. His research is very much involved in people with low vision and how we can integrate intelligent systems into their home environment, making them unobtrusive, but certainly very accessible, so that it could be in a home that anybody could use, but in particular could be used by people with low vision. And many people, whether they're seniors or not, will probably may have this issue. So that's another aspect that we're certainly very keen on looking at. Any other comments to that? More? Okay.
I'm Sarah. I'm an undergrad student in gerontology and science here at Waterloo. I was just wondering, when you were talking about the iSILS brain, and has there been any concerns, privacy concerns?
Absolutely, we are thinking of the fragility of the elderly people. We're thinking of the Privacy Act and the whole work. So when we are keeping that in mind, that's been brought up to our attention actually by our advisors, including our gerontologists and what have you, and we're keeping that in mind definitely. So as we progress forward, so wherever there is a need, to tackle that, we definitely will. Because elderly are very fragile people, and they've been taken advantage of and so on and so forth. So we have to keep all of that in mind.
We have a representative from the CCAC, and I just wondered if you have a comment about this. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Adams. I'm a visiting case manager, so I'm going into the homes every day, visiting people, taking a laptop computer with me, asking seniors questions, putting the information directly in, and then giving them feedback in that same meeting about what problems are being identified based on the answers they're giving me. So I have seen a shift. I remember when I started in the field 25 years ago being told, seniors won't let computers in their home. They're going to be paranoid. Guess what? They're not. It depends on my confidence in presenting. This is going to be useful and interesting to you. So I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited that our CCAC is represented by Barb McKay, phenomenal lady, and the Lynn. This whole thing is definitely what we need to be doing. And, you know, my hat's off to you, Shaki.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
One of the other people that just left, Dr. Pascal Poupard, is also very interested in this project. Pascal has a lot of expertise in designing intelligent systems for the elderly. In particular, he's part of a design team looking at an iWalker, an intelligent walker. So he, like I am sure many of researchers on this campus, will be very excited about this project. Are there any other questions before we bring this session to a close?
I just want to tell everybody, the young ones here that will be thinking about moving forward, and they might have some ideas and what have you. What we did today, we really took you through the establishment of quote unquote a startup, you know, the necessary steps. And one of the things I'm very proud of saying 10 years ago, I was one of the co-founders of IMS Intelligent Mechatronic Systems with Dr. Basir and Dr. Karai. They had an idea, they came to me, and they have 120 engineers. So I took you through the steps for a startup, really, and I'm thankful for our government for their belief in our vision. And above all, once again, thank you very much on behalf of our chairman, on behalf of Bob, and let me wish you all luck. Bob?
Well, and I thank you, Shaki. Thank you, Shaki and Bob, for coming today. It's an exciting concept. You've made some very good progress in a short period of time. I know with your passion and your determination, good results will only have to follow. So thank you all for coming today. Look forward to you coming back to our next seminar later this spring, and have a great day. Thanks a lot.